Hi there, this is Aaron Sachs with Hanwha Techwin, and today I want to tell you about the latest generation of the Hanwha Techwin Wisenet SoC, the system on a chip that runs inside the heart of our cameras. We've designed it with a whole host of new features ranging from improving video quality to cybersecurity and improved user convenience as well. So this is our 5th generation chip that we've designed, engineered, and manufactured. And each level, each generation provides new feature sets and enhancements. So we're able to improve things like our WDR, the wide dynamic range, for difficult and challenging lighting conditions. So anytime that you have strong backlighting coming in, so like an entrance to a retail store, a business, you got that bright light behind you. We've changed the way WDR works in this chipset, and we're using a different method where we're able to look at each line of the image and make adjustments on the shutter speed and other components there. And what that does is it allows that the gap between one frame and the next frame, so typically you have multiple exposures for a short exposure, long exposure, and any gap between the first exposure and the next of the same type of exposure will be a gap that causes ghosting or image quality problems. So we've reduced that gap in using a new method of WDR to give you unrivaled image quality. We've also improved our low light performance, so getting color low light images with low noise, really important for any business using cameras. And then we've also improved our lens distortion correction. And what that does is it allows us to have natural looking images. So if you have a wide angle camera, typically you get a bowing effect where you have a straight line. It could be a pillar of a building, it could be a ceiling, it could be a power line. Anything that normally looks straight, but the camera sees it as a curved line. And so for an end user, it gives it a more natural looking image. We're able to do a correction in the camera where we can correct that on the whole image from the center to the outside. So it looks more natural, looks what you would expect the image to use while still getting the benefit of ultra wide angle lenses. A lot of people don't talk about the cyber side because it's hard to see it. It's hard to visualize what's new, what's different. But what we've done is we started from the ground up of looking at what's called secure boot. So that way when the camera boots up, it verifies the operating system. It makes sure that the firmware it's running, when you upgrade firmware, we make sure that that firmware is intact and correct. It hasn't been tampered with. When we store video, when we store user credentials in the camera, when we export video to a VMS, we're using encryption. So that way our data at rest, our data in transit, data in storage, all of that is encrypted using Hanwha Techwin encryption keys that are burned into the chip so they can't be modified or tampered with. And we've also gone to the next level and secured the hardware side as well. You have customers who have their cameras at facilities, they may be their outdoors, and they're concerned about someone tampering with that hardware at nighttime and getting access to the hardware, to the network. So we also have improved what's called secure JTAG and secure UART, where we take a look at the circuit boards in the camera here and make sure that if someone takes a camera and opens it up, that they can't go into a command line, they can't debug, they can't modify that hardware. In the IoT world, that's very popular for people to tinker with and kind of customize their products. But when we talk about the professional side, we've got cameras, professional IoT devices on our network that we want to secure and not introduce a vulnerability into their network. And then kind of the final piece that we've really done is we've worked with the UL CAP, the Cyber Assurance Program of the UL, which is a cybersecurity stamp of approval that they've checked out our product line and the product specifically to verify and validate how we designed the software and the hardware, to validate how we implemented things, to make sure that the product is secure. There's also another certification called Secure by Default, to make sure that out of the box the product is designed properly, to make sure that we're, again, not introducing vulnerabilities into our network. So we've really looked at our product from an end-to-end, not just the hardware, not just the software, not just getting one certification or one testing, but looked at an end-to-end from the ground up of designing a whole new platform with cybersecurity and end-user convenience of better feature sets and the next generation of our product. We've also taken this new chipset to do things like higher frame rates, higher resolutions, as well as supporting multi-channel, multi-sensor cameras. So previously, if we had a multi-sensor camera, we might need multiple chips in that camera. Well, now we can do more in one camera with that one chipset, which means costs go down, size goes down, heat, power consumption, all of that goes down, again, which then ends up benefiting whoever's using the product, because now you need less power, less heat, less cooling for all of that, again, for an end-to-end new robust platform with our new Wisenet 7 chipset.